10 Minutes to Joy is your weekly invitation to reset, recharge, and rediscover your most joyful self through aha moments and simple energy techniques. You're listening to holistic psychotherapist Sylvia Plester-Silk. I've worked with individuals, couples, and groups from parole officer to private practice. I've learned many a lesson, and I'm ready to share. This week, I did something. It came from a deep, grateful place within me. Perhaps it was the chimes of Canadian Thanksgiving. In any event, my podcast coach, Denise, who's incredible, was helping me out with something. And I wanted to share just my deep appreciation. Did I think it was a big deal? Not really. I just thought, I'm just doing what a decent person does. So I sent flowers. To me, it's a simple gesture, um, but it was very heartfelt. But I didn't expect the fallout that happened after I did that. What I didn't recognize was getting flowers might be somewhat normal for me. Hint, if my husband's listening, it's been a while. In any event, what happened was for Denise, it's not her norm to get flowers. So a simple gesture of me gifting her beautiful flowers created so much joy in her that I noticed she posted about it on LinkedIn. She telephoned me. She emailed me all her thanks, sending photos of the flowers. And what happened then for me was I was just filled with joy. My intention was to give gratitude and appreciation for all her brilliance and her skills and her support over several months, and quite frankly, 10 minutes to joy, I'm guessing, wouldn't still be happening. I wouldn't be here with you today filming the 40th episode if it wasn't for Denise Griffiths. So the big story here is I had a thought about doing something caring for someone else. I then took the action from a genuine place. There was no expectation of getting anything out of this experience. My intention was pure gratitude and pure gifting. And what I ended up receiving was joy. Okay, so the couple of things come up here. It was a clean give, meaning I didn't feel like I should do it or I had to do it. There wasn't pressure to do it. I just felt it from this deep inspiration, loving part of my soul. Okay, so that's great. I didn't, yes, sometimes we give because we think we should, or it's expected, or that's the politically correct thing to do. Secondly, I took action. So I have to be honest, there's been a number of times where I've had these inspirations of I would like to do X, and I haven't followed through. Man, I guess I've thrown away a whole bunch of potential joy experiences for other people as well as myself. Geez, that's not really 10 minutes to joy, is it? So I took action. And then I waited. I hoped that she'd acknowledge that she got them because different country, and I wanted to ensure that my gift was received. So gratitude from her also was clean and clear. She wasn't giving gratitude because you should send a thank you card or you should do this or you should do that. It came from this loving, free-flowing part of herself that she wanted to genuinely share how grateful she was and how she had received it. So I think the lesson is when gratitude comes from a place of truth, I'll call it. And let me explain a little bit more what I mean by that. A place of truth is when gratitude comes from our hearts or our souls outward versus I should be grateful for this. And the thought of I should send flowers or I should send a thank you card or I should do these things because it's protocol or, um, what would be expected societally. So it's getting into and being pure in your intentions, being clean. I didn't expect anything back. I hoped she would enjoy them. And I think sometimes we get into gifting in the hopes that it's A, received and appreciated, but then B, that perhaps something might be given to us in return. And to me, that's unclean giving. And when I gift something, it's a clear gift. I remember gifting somebody needed lights, and I was replacing, excuse me, some lights in my cottage. So I gifted her the old lights. They were quite lovely. They weren't that old. And she came back to me and said, "Oh, they don't fit where I need the lights. Do you want them back?" And I'm like, "No, do whatever you like with them. Once I've gifted it to you, it's yours, and I'm hands off. I don't have an expectation that you're going to use it in a specific way. I'm not going to check that you use it in a specific way. I don't expect even gratitude. Some acknowledgement is nice, just so that I know, like in the case where I was sending flowers to another country, I wanted to know they actually were received and that I'd gotten a real flower shop that was legitimate. Um, but it's about having the personal integrity to go, what are my motives here? I've used this a lot with clients. So if you're going to do that, what's your motive? Let's just get really super clear on your motive. Because when we take any action, it's our motive that gets felt. So if I'm being kind to somebody because I'm hoping they'll get me free tickets somewhere, or I'm hoping they'll do something special for me, that's not clean. And it's my motive then is a form of manipulation. Ugh, not the energy, right? So when we're doing something from that kind of place of expectation that somebody else's should do a specific outcome from it, it gets what I call dirty, and the energy is dirty, and it gets felt on the other side as a little yucky. It's not received the same because it's not coming from that a sense of pure energy or for pure joy. It's coming from an icky energy where it's just not clean and clear. There's an entanglement, an expectation out of it. There's an expectation that somebody should do something. And believe it or not, our energy is felt before people even see us. Our energy is often felt before we enter a room, before we speak. When somebody sees us on social media, they'll be like, ooh, or yeah, this person feels clean and clear. So I encourage you to really ask yourself in your day to day, what's my motive here? And if you have a secondary motive that isn't what I'm calling clear giving, pause. What is that about for you? What pattern is being shown? Is it that you always give and no one gives back? Is it that you feel somehow inadequate and that you must give in order to receive? and then start to do some depatterning. And again, my book, 10, or not 10 Minutes to Joy, but Healing is Possible, and its workbook gives you the way to do that, including the workbook so that you can literally work through the steps. Available on Amazon throughout the world. So please feel free to hop on Amazon and purchase your copy so that you can then get to the different things. Because as I've gotten clear on all of those other things that may have happened in the past, and I'm giving from such a pure energy, people are receiving it with with pure energy, and they're able to experience even more joy because it's a clean gifting. And I think we've all had it where we've received from somebody else and it hasn't been a clean gift and it feels yucky. It's not as joyful. You may feel some joy, but there's like a ugh underneath it that just doesn't seem clear. So let's get really clear. What are our motives? Making sure that we're coming from a pure motive. When we're not coming from a pure motive, know there's some pattern underneath that needs to be released so that you can get into giving from a pure motive. That's all for today. Remember, your past doesn't need to define your future. You get to choose. Keep moving forward. See you next week on 10 Minutes to Joy.